My name is Danielle Carter. I'm 34 years old, and up until about 4 months ago, I thought I had one of the easiest divorces in the world. No screaming matches, no lawyers tearing each other apart, just two people who realized they didn't work anymore and chose to stop pretending. My ex-husband, Marcus, and I split 3 years ago, and somehow, we got it right. 50-50 custody, week on, week off. Clean, predictable, respectful. Our kids, Ethan, 8, and Lily, 6, adjusted better than I ever expected. Two homes, same routines, same rules. We lived about 15 minutes apart. Communication stayed short and neutral through a co-parenting app. It wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold either. It was stable. And for a long time, that was enough. Then Marcus started dating someone. I didn't think much of it at first. Honestly, I was relieved. It meant we were both moving on. Ethan mentioned her casually one night, said, "Dad's friend Chloe had been around a lot and drove a loud SUV. I smiled, nodded, didn't ask questions. Kids shouldn't feel like they're reporting back. At first, nothing changed. Then everything did, but quietly. It started with Ethan going still. Not upset, not angry, just careful. Like he was thinking too hard before speaking. Lily started asking if she could just stay one more night at my house when it wasn't my turn. No tantrums, no tears. Just soft requests, like she already knew the answer. That scared me more than anything. Drop-offs became different. Ethan stopped waving goodbye. He used to do it every time, big grin, hand out the window. Now he just stared straight ahead. Lily clung to me longer, her fingers digging into my arm like she was trying to memorize the feeling before letting go. One morning, she held my hand so tight I could feel her nails through my sleeve. And then came the silence. Ethan used to come back from Marcus's house full of stories. Random, messy, non-stop talking. Now he'd walk in, drop his bag, and go straight to his room. Door closed. 8-year-olds don't close doors unless something's wrong. Lily started carrying her stuffed elephant again. She hadn't touched that thing in over a year. Now it was everywhere. Car rides, dinner table, couch. Like something inside her had slipped backward. I tried to ignore it at first. Tried to tell myself I was overthinking. Until one night at the kitchen table, Ethan looked up from his homework and asked, "Mom, does Chloe live with Dad now?" I told him I didn't know. Asked why. He hesitated, just for a second. Then said, "Because she's always there, and she gets mad a lot." My stomach dropped. But I didn't react. Not outwardly. I just nodded, told him to finish his math, and went back to pretending everything was normal. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept running through options. Call Marcus. Ask more questions. Confront it head on. But I knew how this worked. One wrong move, and suddenly I'm the difficult ex. The jealous one. The problem. So I did something else. I started documenting every change, every word, every behavior, dates, times, exact phrases. I kept it all in a notebook in my bedside drawer. Nothing fancy, just paper and a pen. It felt obsessive at first, but something in me knew I was going to need it. 2 weeks later, I bought cameras, one for the front door, one angled toward the driveway. I told Marcus about it, kept it casual. Neighborhoods had some package theft. He replied, "Got it." No questions. For a while, nothing happened. Normal drop-offs, normal pickups, no sign of Chloe. And then one afternoon, she showed up. Marcus wasn't driving, she was. Dark SUV, engine still running. She didn't smile when I walked out, didn't even look at me, just sat there, tapping her fingers on the wheel like she was already annoyed. Ethan climbed into the back seat and accidentally dropped his backpack. It hit the pavement, spilling papers and crayons. and before I could even move, she snapped. "Seriously? Pick it up! What is wrong with you?" Her voice cut through the air, sharp, loud, too loud. Ethan froze. Just froze. Lily shrank back against the door like she was trying to disappear. I stepped forward, crouched down, and started gathering his things. "It's okay," I told him softly. "It's just a bag." I could feel Chloe watching me, waiting, like she wanted a reaction. I didn't give her one. I handed Ethan his things, closed the door, and stepped back. They drove off. I stood there in the driveway long after the car disappeared. Then I went inside, opened the app, and watched the footage. Clear audio, clear video. Every word, every reaction. I saved it, downloaded it, backed it up, and wrote everything down. Because in that moment, I knew. This wasn't a bad day. This was the beginning of something worse. The first clip should have been enough to make me act. It wasn't. Not because I didn't care, but because I understood something most people don't until it's too late. One moment can be dismissed. A pattern can't. So I waited, and I watched, and I documented everything. The next 2 weeks were quiet again, almost too quiet. Marcus handled most of the pickups himself. Chloe showed up twice but stayed in the car, didn't say a word. If anything, it felt controlled, like someone had told her to behave. But behavior like that doesn't disappear. It just hides. December 18th proved that. Lily tripped walking toward the car. Nothing serious, just a small stumble on the curb. She didn't even fall hard, but she let out that soft, shaky cry kids make when they're more startled than hurt. Before I could reach her, Chloe was already out of the car. "Knock it off and get in. We don't have time for this." Cold, flat, irritated. Lily's crying stopped instantly. Not because she felt better, because she was scared. I picked her up, wiped her cheeks, whispered, "You're okay, baby." Her little hands clung to my shirt like she didn't want to let go. Like letting go meant stepping back into something she couldn't control. I carried her to the car myself. Chloe stood there, arms crossed, watching. That same look, that challenge. I ignored her, closed the door, watched them drive away. Then I went inside and did what I always did now. Saved the clip, downloaded it, backed it up, wrote it down. Date, time, exact words. By then, my notebook wasn't just notes anymore. It was a timeline. And the worst part? The kids were changing faster than I could process. Ethan stopped laughing the way he used to. Not completely, but it was different. Quieter, shorter. Like he was checking if it was okay first. His teacher emailed me one afternoon asking if everything was all right at home. Said he'd been distracted, not turning in assignments. Lily started waking up at night. At first, she'd just come into my room and crawl into bed silently. Then the nightmares started. I'd hear her crying through the baby monitor I hadn't unplugged yet. When I asked her what was wrong, she'd just shake her head and say, "Nothing." Kids always say nothing. Their bodies tell the truth. I thought about calling Marcus every single night, but I could already hear how it would go. "You're overreacting. It's not that serious. She's just trying to discipline them." And worse, if I tipped him off, Chloe would change, be more careful, softer when she knew eyes were on her. I couldn't risk that, so I kept going. Christmas came and went, and for a few hours things felt normal again. Pancakes, wrapping paper everywhere, Lily laughing too loud, Ethan showing me every single piece of a toy he hadn't even built yet. I held on to that, because I knew it wouldn't last. That afternoon, when I dropped them off, Chloe answered the door, not Marcus. She didn't say Merry Christmas, didn't smile, just stepped aside like I was delivering something she ordered online. Ethan walked in first, then Lily, and right before the door closed, Ethan looked back at me, just once. I've replayed that look in my head more times than I can count. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't fear. It was something worse. It was acceptance. Like he'd already decided this was just how things were now. I sat in my car for 20 minutes after that. Didn't turn the engine on. Didn't move. Just sat there, trying to convince myself I still had time. January proved me wrong. The fourth incident was small on paper, but it was the one that broke something in me. Marcus dropped the kids off after school. Chloe was in the passenger seat. As Ethan got out, I heard her voice through the open window. "Next time, don't leave your shoes in the hallway, or I'm throwing them away." Not yelling, not loud, but controlled. Sharp. Threatening. Ethan just nodded, didn't argue, didn't react, just accepted it. That's when I knew. This wasn't discipline. This was control. And my kids were learning to shrink to survive it. That night, after they went to bed, I sat at my kitchen table, notebook open, videos lined up on my laptop. 4 incidents, 2 months, same tone, same pattern, same effect. I stared at it for a long time. Then I closed the notebook, picked up my phone, and called a lawyer. Her name was Rebecca Lawson. She didn't interrupt me once as I explained everything. The notebook, the videos, the behavioral changes. When I finished, there was a pause. Then she said one sentence. "How soon do you want to file?" I didn't hesitate. Yesterday. The next week moved fast, faster than I expected. Rebecca reviewed everything, every clip, every note. She told me exactly what I already felt, but needed to hear from someone else. "This isn't one bad moment," she said. "This is a pattern of emotional harm." She explained the strategy. Not one big accusation, a documented timeline, evidence that showed escalation, consistency, impact. Judges don't act on feelings. They act on proof, and I had it. We filed on January 21st. I braced myself for a fight, for accusations, for Marcus to turn this into something ugly. Instead, I got a phone call. Late that night. His name lit up on my screen, and when I answered, he wasn't angry. He was crying. I didn't expect Marcus to cry. Not like that. Not the kind of crying where someone's angry and trying to hold it together. This was different. His voice was shaking, breaking in places I'd never heard before. "I know," he said. Just that. "I know." I didn't say anything at first. I let the silence sit between us, heavy and overdue. Then he started talking, fast, messy, like the words had been building up and finally had somewhere to go. He told me things had gotten worse, not just at drop-offs, inside the house, behind closed doors. Chloe yelling over small things, slamming cabinets, picking at the kids constantly. Ethan wetting the bed again, something he hadn't done in years. Lily waking up crying almost every night. "And I didn't stop it," he said, his voice cracking. I kept telling myself it wasn't that bad, that she'd calm down, that I could handle it. I closed my eyes, because I already knew the answer to the question forming in my head. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked quietly. There was a long pause. "I was scared," he said. Not defensive, not angry, just honest. "Of her?" I asked. "Yeah." That landed heavier than anything else. For a second, all the anger I'd been holding on to shifted. Not gone, but complicated. Because now it wasn't just my kids who had been living in that environment. It was him, too. "I ended it," he said quickly. 2 weeks ago, after I got served. She's gone. She moved out. I let out a slow breath. Okay, I said. That's good. But even as I said it, I knew. Good didn't erase what had already happened. We didn't argue. We didn't fight. We just acknowledged the damage. The kids come first, I told him. I know, he said again. And this time, I believed him. The court date was February 12th. I wore the same thing I always wear when I need to feel steady. Simple blouse, dark slacks, hair pulled back. Nothing dramatic, just reliable. Rebecca sat beside me, calm as ever, flipping through the binder she'd built from my notes. Tabs, labels, dates. It looked less like a legal case and more like a story someone couldn't ignore. Marcus sat across the room. He looked smaller. Not physically, but something in him had folded inward, like the fight had already left him. When the hearing started, there was no grand speech, no shouting, just evidence. Clip 1. Ethan dropping his backpack, Chloe's voice cutting through the room. Even in a courtroom, it sounded too loud. Clip 2. Lily tripping. Knock it off and get in! A 6-year-old shrinking in real time. Clip 3. The tone, the pattern, the repetition. Clip 4. The quiet threat about the shoes. That one felt the worst somehow, because it didn't need volume anymore. It had already done its work. I didn't watch the screen. I watched the judge. Her expression barely moved through the first clip. Neutral, controlled. Second clip. Her jaw tightened. Third, she leaned forward slightly. Fourth, she closed her eyes for just a second after it ended. That was the moment I knew. This was over. She asked Marcus one question. Is this individual still in contact with your children? No, he said immediately. I ended the relationship. She's no longer in the home. His voice didn't shake this time. It was steady. But it was late. The judge reviewed everything. The videos, the timeline, the notes. The school reports Rebecca had added. Ethan's slipping grades. Lily's unexplained nurse visits. All the things that don't leave bruises, but leave damage anyway. Then she spoke. Clear, direct, final. Full physical custody granted to me. Marcus would have supervised visitation, temporary, with a structured path to reevaluation, if the environment remained stable. No objections, no arguments, just done. I didn't celebrate, didn't cry, didn't feel victorious. I just breathed. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel tight, like something had been pressing down on me since October and finally let go. Outside the courthouse, Rebecca squeezed my shoulder. You did exactly what you needed to do, she said. I nodded. But honestly, it didn't feel like strength. It felt like survival. The real change didn't happen in court. It happened slowly, at home. Ethan started talking again. At first, small things, school, friends, random jokes that didn't quite land but didn't need to. Then bigger things, stories, opinions, complaints about homework, noise. I hadn't realized how much I missed the noise. Lily stopped coming into my room every night. The nightmares didn't disappear completely, but they loosened their grip. She laughed more, sang to herself again, left her stuffed elephant behind without noticing. That was when I knew she was healing. Not fixed, just safe enough to let go. Marcus showed up to every supervised visit, on time, present, trying. We didn't talk much beyond logistics. There were things between us that hadn't been said yet. Maybe they never would be. But for now, it didn't matter. Because the kids were okay. And that was everything. Some nights after they fall asleep, I still open that drawer. The notebook is still there. Pages filled with dates, times, words I wish I never had to write down. I haven't added anything new in weeks. And that feels like the biggest victory of all. I don't know how I'll explain this to Ethan someday. How I'll tell him about the cameras, the court, the decisions made behind the scenes. Maybe I won't need to. Maybe all he'll remember is that things got better, that he felt safe again, that someone paid attention when it mattered. I used to think strength meant acting fast, speaking loud, standing your ground in the moment. Now I know better. Sometimes strength is quiet. It's patience. It's writing things down when no one's watching. It's waiting until the truth can't be ignored. It's choosing the long road, because it's the one that protects the people who depend on you. Right now, my kids are asleep down the hall. Ethan's nightlight is on, even though he insists he doesn't need it. Lily's curled up with her blanket, breathing slow and steady. The house is quiet, but it's a good kind of quiet. The kind that doesn't hide fear. The kind that means everything is finally okay.